All right, we are live. Welcome, DoorGrow hackers, to the DoorGrow show. If you are a property management entrepreneur that wants to add doors, make a difference, increase revenue, help others, impact lives, and you are interested in growing your business and life, and you are open to doing things a bit differently, then you are a DoorGrow hacker. DoorGrow hackers love the opportunities, daily variety, unique challenges, and freedom that property management brings. Many in real estate think you're crazy for doing it. You think they're crazy for not, because you realize that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management businesses and their owners. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. I'm your host, property management growth expert, Jason Hull, the founder and CEO of DoorGrow. Now let's get into the show. And today I am hanging out with Ben Atkin from a new startup, it sounds like, called DoorsUp. Ben, welcome.
Thanks, Jason. It's a pleasure to be on the show. I'm just going to go ahead and say this and geek out of the way. I've watched literally every single one of your podcasts, and I can jive so much with that intro. It seems like it's changed a little bit in the last. Did I notice that you changed that intro to include a couple more things recently?
I have made some subtle changes.
Several changes.
So.
Okay. Well, yeah, I love that. So real excited to be on the show. Just stoked to be here.
Great. So Ben, let's get into your background. So you've got this startup called DoorsUp, which my understanding is it's a lead gen service for property management entrepreneurs so they can get more owners, which sounds very in alignment with what we do to optimize companies so they can handle those leads, and so they can effectively, organically create that business. So tell us, how did you get into this space? Give us some background on Ben. Who the heck are you?
Yeah, it's a long road. So I'm a second generation real estate person, as well as second generation software developer and software person. I grew up, my dad has a real estate company, was a real estate developer in the most inopportune time to be a real estate developer in 2006, 2007. And so I grew up surrounded by real estate, surrounded by property management, and also surrounded by software. So anyway, I got my start in actually having experiences in property management in college. I was managing a 50-unit student housing apartment complex. And if anybody's familiar with student housing, they know that that is just a difficult job to manage students. 50 units is about 250 leases in student housing. So I was looking for something a little bit more lucrative and a little less stressful. So found an opportunity in my local market with a Coldwell Banker property management franchise, or Coldwell Banker Premier, partnered with that franchise and started a property management company from scratch. 0 clients, 0 connections, 0 revenue, and 0 website, nothing. We just started from the ground
bootstrap.
Yeah, absolute to the core. And I had very little experience in property management at that time, even though I did my best at pretending that I did. So that was our major problem, was how do you grow doors? How do you increase the number of units under management? And that was my preoccupation daily, because I wasn't being paid. You talk about bootstrap. I was living on savings, trying to grow a property management company.
Right.
So that was my challenge. That was my problem. And I remember speaking to my broker at this franchise, and I sat in his office for about an hour, and I was brainstorming with him. I said, how do you identify people who own rental property? Where do they hang out? It's not like there's a just big database of everybody who owns rental property and a way to contact them. And that's really was kind of the impetus for what we developed and what we started to pursue. So I leveraged a little bit of my connection with my dad and my brother, who were software engineers, and I have a software engineer background a little bit, and we built the prototype of DoorsUp, which is exactly that. It's a database of every person in your market, virtually, who owns rental properties, and a way to get their phone number and mailing address, and a way to track your interactions with them as you pursue them to engage with your property management services.
I love it. So it sounds like this is almost the equivalent of somebody doing all the manual work to go and find non-owner occupied lists and then start trying to direct mail to them and like, and you know, and doing all this so manually, which works, which can work great to help them grow their business, but it's a long game. People will try it once and feel like I did a mailer, I didn't get anything, right? But then I hear people that have played this game and they'll say, you know, I have clients walk in all the time that they're holding a postcard I did 10 years ago and saying, hey, I'm ready, you know, to sign up. So, so explain how this works.
Sure.
Where are you getting the information? Let's start there.
Sure. I mean, I'm going to mention that's a little bit part of our secret sauce. I mean, I don't know if I consider ourselves like a big data company. I mean, that's kind of a word that people in software throw around to make themselves sound cool, in my opinion. But we have a lot of data. So, you know, hundreds of sources, public sources. And that's really just our expertise is in munging and handling data to be able to target these types of people. Because like what you mentioned, let me just make this quick point. Mailing to absentee owners is in some ways inefficient. You know, how many second homeowners who aren't interested in property management are you mailing to? In a market like mine, where it's a lot of retirees and a lot of, it's almost a vacation area, that would be completely ineffective because you'd send out 1,000 mailers and 700 of those would go to people who really have no interest or their daughter's living in that home or whatever. So I am just going to make that point that what we're doing is quite a bit more targeted and hopefully should save on expenses marketing wise and other things. So your question was kind of how does this work? Is that right?
Yeah. So explain how somebody could utilize this system to grow their business.
Absolutely. So it's a web-based application. The first thing that a user would see as they log in is they would see a map and filters on the side. They can pick an area that they'd like to pursue in trying to acquire more properties to manage. Let's say they've got a neighborhood that they really love. They draw a box on the map, and then they add a couple more filters. Maybe they want to manage only properties that are, you know, the 2000s and newer properties, so they don't have to deal with maintenance issues. And they hit filter parcels, and they'll just see a whole bunch of pins drop on the map, you know, hundreds of pins of rental properties that our algorithms, our big data approach has identified as rental properties. Not as just absentee parcels, but as rental properties. And we've been really rigorous in deciding what we display as rentals. So, you know, that's the first step. They filter, they find the rental properties. They can view the properties from the street with Google Street View through our application. It's very easy to see if the property's run down. They can actually look at it from, you know, the satellite imagery. And they click on the owner's name and they click the lookup button, and our system does a whole bunch of secret sauce magic in the background and gives you a phone number and the accurate mailing address of the owner, as well as information about if they own other rentals, you know, that type of information that they can then pursue that person and try to engage them in a conversation about their property management services. So
okay, great. So
that's the simplest way to explain it.
So they sign up for your service. They mark out their geographic area. They get some pin tabs. They can street view the property. Then your system will, you know, crawl the magical interweb, pull in phone numbers, email addresses, you know, or whatever, mailing address, you said.
Yeah.
And so if you, and then the next step for them would basically probably be to do some sort of direct mail campaign, cold calling.
Yep. Good
Okay.
question. Yeah. So we're agnostic to whatever marketing strategy they want to take. I mean, we provide the information, we provide the data, and they can be as creative as they need to in order to go, pursue that market. Call, email. Well, I'm sorry, call, mail. We don't have email addresses. So that would be something that they'd get them on the phone and ask for an email address and then start them in their sales funnel. A great way to distribute their content and things that you've helped them create or others have helped them create. Or even knocking on people's doors. I mean, that sounds ridiculous in my mind, sounds ridiculously inefficient. But if you knew that someone had 10 rental properties and those 10 rental properties were exactly what you wanted to manage, and you could see exactly where the homeowner or where the landlord lives, where the rental owner lives, it might be worth sending them, dropping off some fudge at the doorstep of their home. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but that's actually something that one of our customers has done in the past. And it's very differentiating as opposed to just this search engine optimization pay-per-click strategy. It's a little bit closer to a human connection.
Oh yeah. I mean, realtors still knock doors. Realtors still do this. And property managers have probably really tried to avoid doing that. But yeah, I've got a client who's in commercial property management. And one of the ways he would get clients is he would go bring a candle to their place. I'm old fashioned. Here's this candle. He would give a gift, a little gift. And the secret is he'd buy these at like the dollar store, It wasn't like some expensive thing, but some people are showing up with, I don't know, a bottle of wine or something. It was a $1 candle. And it probably meant something, that it felt like something, warm to them. So I think it's all about connection. So they obviously, if they were really aggressive, they've like listened to Grant Cardone's 10X, they're like gung ho, they want to like create some business. They just need opportunities. They go into the system. They may do a multi-channel approach. They're like, these are on my dream list right here. I'm going to call them. I'm going to send them some material. I'm going to mail them on a regular basis. I'm going to go knock on their door and they will get the business.
Well, and here's the thing is that, like I said, we're marketing strategy agnostic. People are already doing wonderful things to get more doors. They're doing great things. They're setting up landlord seminars. They've got great content that they're trying to push into these distribution channels. But one of the things that we can provide is a way to reach more and more people. I mean, as part of your mailer, send out an invitation to your seminar. It fits really well into the things that people are already doing. Or if you've got a digital marketing strategy, get somebody on the phone, say, we would love to just send you some information in an email about what we do, and just enroll them in an email nurturing campaign, which you've already developed, which you've already got going. But it seems like the organic traffic is a little bit harder to get in our industry for the smaller guys and for some of the companies that are just starting out. And they've got to put a little bit effort into it to start getting those doors, getting the traction that they've got. So
So I mean, if we've got roughly 70% that are self-managing in the industry, there's tons of blue ocean. So this just helps you to see where the fish are, and if you can see them, you can go hunt. Like it's time, right? So so love the idea. I think this is such a nice matchup, between DoorGrow and what you do. And so I'll be really curious to get feedback from some of our clients on some of the strategies that we teach them if they have these opportunities that they can go after. So this will be really cool. So, so Ben, what's sort of the future for DoorsUp?
Yeah, good question. So like you mentioned in the beginning, we're very recently coming out of stealth mode or development mode. We launched just short of a month and a half ago.
Okay.
And we're constrained geographically right now where we can service. So Having just barely launched, we are currently servicing customers in Utah and Nevada. I live in Utah, and I live right in between Las Vegas and Salt Lake City, which are two large markets that we wanted to initially prove the concept of the product and establish a customer base. We are going to be in NARPM at the NARPM convention conference in October. It's in Arizona. And is that right? It's in Arizona. Yeah.
I don't know. My assistant schedules it all for me, and I just do what she tells me to do. So, but
that's right.
I'll be there.
But we'll be there, and that's where we hope to add geographically another service area. So we're going to be growing that way, kind of state by state as we go, and that will be determined by the traction we're able to get in the different states that we're able to start servicing. I mean, if we can grab a couple of customers in one state, that might be enticing enough for us to go to that state and start servicing that area. But there's an advantage for our customers right now. They're alone in this sea of data that they're the only people using it. And so it's a huge competitive advantage right now for the people using it to be some of the first ones that are using it. As much as we are kind of just coming out of beta and the user interface is not maybe as polished as it should be or could be, but there's a huge advantage for those of our early customers who are starting to use the system and see some results.
Fantastic. So, well, is there anything, what are some of the most common questions that people are asking you about this? I would imagine one question that comes to mind is this, does this have all the data that I can go find myself, or is it missing that?
Right. Good question. So essentially people ask that question, and they have a little bit of a misunderstanding about what we do. I mean, that was an instinct that you had right at the beginning of our conversation is it's similar to what people are doing, which is they're going out and sourcing their own data, sending out mailers, sending out, stuff like that. That's a very, very rudimentary version of what we do. And so the answer to that question is, I guess, the data is so concise, so aggressively filtered that it makes your marketing very efficient and enables you to do certain things that you never would have had the time or money to do otherwise.
Right.
Mail campaigns being an excellent example. The sales cycle for property management is so long. We're not selling toothbrushes. If you ask somebody, hey, you want to buy this toothbrush? They can say yes, and it's done. The sale is done, and the service is done. Property management has such a long sales cycle where you get somebody on the phone and you say, I would love to manage your units. And they say, well, it's got a 12, 18-month lease on it. I'm not interested unless it's vacant. 12 months from now, call me. And being able to keep track of that and being able to keep track of how many times you've mailed to somebody is another really important part of that process, and is integrated into the system right now. People are able to track their leads. They're able to keep track of how many times they've mailed to somebody, keep notes on phone calls that they've had. And the other aspect of that is that the data updates. I don't know if you've ever spoken with somebody who has actually tried to implement a long-term mail campaign, but the data 6 months out has changed. People buy property, they sell property, and how do they correlate whether they've mailed to somebody already, whether they've called somebody already? How do they just track that, change over time to be able to spend the time with one person long enough for them to close them, given that property management has such a long sales cycle? So that's part of the thing.
Good point.
That's part of the advantage of using a system like ours to do your prospecting and data sourcing. Is that we keep it up to date. The data is updated monthly, and the phone numbers are. You click the lookup button, and it does a lookup immediately right then. So very, very fresh data, which you're not going to be able to find yourself. And who has time for that anyway? I mean, you're going to be managing 200 properties, and you're going to be spending time in a big Excel spreadsheet trying to,
Trying to dig
correlate a
through and
direct mail
filter.
campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. So I saw it as a huge way to be much more effective and to really spend my money where it was going to make the most effect. Given that I knew that people had multiple units and they were units I wanted to manage, I could pursue the market I wanted rather than shotgunning a mail campaign or something out into the world and seeing if I got anything I wanted.
So tell us a little bit about some of the early adopters. Like, what sort of experience have they had, or what is there maybe a case study or an example you can share with
Sure.
us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll start with myself. I mean, I was the
Okay.
first case study. So if we go back to that kind of origin story of DoorsUp, I asked my broker, where do I find these people? He said, I have no idea. No one has any idea. We developed this raw prototype of the system. And, I got this report. It was essentially, it's so embarrassing to even look at now. It's this ugly Excel spreadsheet, but it was our prototype. And it was the name and phone number and address of every person in my market who owned rental property and how many rentals they owned, the value of their portfolio, and the addresses of all of their rentals. It was ridiculous. To me, it felt like magic. And I just straight down and called through that list. And, after wasting 3 months getting 4 or 5 units, in 2 months we had, we were managing about 45 units. And I was
phenomenal.
I was just bogged down.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy. We grew too fast. And I discovered that I didn't want to be a property manager. So I went into software.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot of people are like, why don't you do it, Jason? I'm like, then I can't help everybody else do well.
Yeah.
Then I'd be competing with everybody.
That's
And
right.
I don't think anybody wants that. So yeah. So okay. So you're no longer doing that, but you had a really rapid growth initially. I love creating that problem for clients, by the way. I love when they come to me and they're like, man, my biggest problem is adding doors and getting doors. And then I say, great, let's get you to problem number 2, which is how you deal with the growth. Like, now you've got doors coming in and you're in pain because you have so much growth. I love creating that problem.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. Well, anything else they should know about this? If not, then how can they get in touch? How can they find out more about DoorsUp?
Yeah, so I guess I'll end with this thought. This is kind of the thesis behind DoorsUp. This is why we got into this space and tried to solve this problem. And my thesis is essentially that property management has a serious marketing problem. And I listen to your show a lot, and I feel like I didn't steal that idea from you. I sure hope I didn't, but you've taught me a lot about that. But I experienced that myself in that people cannot find a sustainable, reliable way to grow their door count. And profitability aside, that's important. That's very, very important. But top line revenue growth is the thing that we are focusing on and helping people do. We don't have in our industry any sort of enabling data or service or company like other industries do. For example, if somebody in property management really wanted to spend all day, every day prospecting, if they wanted to do Grant Cardone 10X, they wanted to not talk to 7 new landlords a week. They wanted to talk to 75 new landlords a week.
Yeah.
How would they do that? They would go to
Right.
Rotary Club and hope that a landlord was there. They would go to BNI, Business Network International, and hope that a landlord was there. Or they, take a realtor to lunch and pray that he'll give him a referral. How does an aggressively minded property management company grow quickly? They just need these leads. And whereas in real estate sales and other industries, we've got Cole Realty Resource, we've got Smart Zip, we've got the Red X, we've got all these prospecting tools. Property management industry just does not have that, and which has made it impossible for property managers to pursue this blue ocean, this 70% of self-managed landlords. there's no way for them to contact them. They have no visibility into that market. So just from a very macro perspective, that's what we're trying to provide the industry. To be able to turn the focus from just closing hand raisers, people who go on Google and raise their hand and say, we want your service, to be able to aggressively pursue that market instead of just waiting for leads to come to them. So that's kind of what we see. That's my thesis, is that there's a problem in property management, that they need this data and that we can provide it. And we're still proving and testing that thesis, but we're very excited to get out there and be able to offer that to people. And we've seen some success. So anyway, that's kind of
Very
from
cool.
a macro perspective what we're trying to do. If people want to contact me, there are plenty of ways on our website. You can go ahead and email me. My personal email address is ben.r.atkin@gmail.com. That's probably the easiest way to reach out to me personally, though I'm also tuned in on the website. If you chat with us, it'll be an actual person who answers that. So, if you're in Utah and Nevada, go online, sign up for a free trial. We'd love to have you, start using the system. And we do a 2-week, 30 lead free trial. And other than that, just reach out to me. I'd love to chat about it and jive about property management and see if we can help this industry grow from the 30% penetration to 40 or 50 or 60. And I see there needs to be some sort of change in order to be able to do that.
Cool. All right. So Ben, where are you based out of?
I'm in St. George, Utah, just an hour north of Las Vegas, Nevada. Nobody really knows where it is.
I know where it is, but I was born in Utah. So,
awesome.
All right. So, well, Ben, super cool to have you on the show. Let's talk more. I think that this sounds like a really cool
I think I lost you.
thing. Can you hear me, Ben?
You're good. Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. So basically, we'll connect. I think that I have a lot of clients that are at the point where they're ready to be able to really leverage a service like this. I think a lot of property managers are not. I think a lot of them really just are not ready to leverage something like this. And unfortunately, and if that's the case, then reach out to DoorGrow. And then those of you that feel like, hey, you're ready, you have the bandwidth to do this kind of thing and to grow your business, let's get you connected to DoorsUp. So, but yeah, I look forward to watching what you guys do and seeing the progress and growth of your company. So
thanks, pleasure.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Hopefully we'll see you at NARPM, and anybody else, hopefully we'll see them there. So thanks.
All right. So very cool. So if you are a property management entrepreneur and you are wanting to grow your business and you want to see people that we've helped grow without SEO, without pay-per-click, without content marketing, without social media marketing, without uncomfortable videos, without pay-per-lead services, and they're having phenomenal growth. They're easily adding in a year 100 doors to their business. They're adding 100 grand in revenue to their business annually, and you want to do that. Maybe you're one of these companies that right now are losing more doors than you're getting on right now because it's so difficult to try to outpace the market when doors are selling off because the market's good with marketing, right? Then reach out to DoorGrow. Let's optimize your business. Let's get you ready to use a service like this and some other strategies and tactics that we have that can help you grow your business. Check us out at DoorGrow.com. We would love to help you out. We want, like I say in the intro, we want to impact this industry, and excited to find like-minded entrepreneurs like Ben and others that are helping to make this industry great. So I think it has massive potential. I believe the property management industry can be as big as the real estate industry. I think it has the potential to really, really grow here in the US. So let's make that happen, everybody. Make sure if you are a property management entrepreneur, you join our Facebook group, doorgrowclub.com. Get inside the community, connect with us. This is a group for property management business owners. Get with your tribe, connect with us, and we will probably see you in person at some of these NARPM events, because I'm hitting as many as I can lately. So hopefully I'll be connecting with you guys in person and inside the DoorGrow Club. And until next time, everyone, to our mutual growth.